All right, what's going on, guys? T Torres back here for another video. So in today's video, we're going to be doing the big bore on our CRF 300 rally. Big thank you to 550 Performance. We've got the new ECU, the airbox lid mod, the cams, the JE piston, and the top of the cylinder. Right now, the entire bike, all the plastics are torn off of it, and we're going to need to remove a bunch of stuff in order to get to the top of the motor, so we can get get to the cams and etc. The oil's already been drained out, but if you guys are interested in this kit yourself, I'll have a link down in the description to 550 Performance. Yeah, so let's get started tearing this bike down. Okay, quick little bike update. As you can see, we've got a lot of stuff out of the way. One of the probably hardest things was removing this airbox. This Yoshimura exhaust didn't really want to come off right there. So as you can see, the rear fender.
Easiest way to get the airbox out: undo the rear fender and then undo
The battery tray.
Out of the three of the battery trays. Allows you to rotate the battery tray out, and then you just kind of like drop it down, kind of give it a little twist, and then pull it out the back.
There is the airbox, and then we've got the throttle body loose.
Big thing when you're trying to loosen up the airbox off of the throttle body, recommend unbolting the fuel tank, just lifting it up as it is. We've got it zip tied to the handlebars. That gives you just enough room to get a Phillips head screwdriver, a smaller one, down inside there to undo the.
And then we obviously drained, we drained some coolant out for the bike as well. If you guys, we have a little icy breeze air conditioner, so if you hear that in the background, don't worry about that. But yeah, this is where we've gotten to. I'd say we're probably, what, 3 hours in?
Probably, dude, it took an hour just to get the damn airbox out.
Yeah, there was a couple screws that weren't so friendly to get to, so now some more of the fun stuff. But yeah, this is where we're at. All right, so we got the top of the head off. You want to remove, there's two 10mm bolt with a nut on the back. Then as you can see on his side, got the timing chain in the cams here. So it's time to loosen them bad boys up, take some tension off the chain, and get her done. Okay, so we have the top of the head off, and then good thing that the guy at 550 Performance said to do, we counted the teeth, the pins. We have 15 from dot to dot, and he said you want to take off the exhaust side cam first to relieve tension off of the cam tensioner. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this exhaust cam first, and it looks like it's probably just two 10mm on this side, and then two on this side as well. All right, so here is the top of the motor. We're going to be removing the exhaust cam here soon, and we have everything laid out on the other side on a napkin on where the all the bolts and etc. go. Okay, so we have the factory exhaust intake cam out, and now we're loosening the studs on the top of the motor to get this piece of the top of the head off as well. There was probably, the cam chain tensioner, we've got that completely loose, and that was the only way. Obviously we took the exhaust out first, and then we did the intake side. All right, so there's two head studs right where you see the extension, and they are both 10mm, and we should be able to remove the top of the head now. Yeah, all right. Let me put the phone down real quick. Okay, so on one of the exhaust studs, we had to remove it in order to remove the top of the head, because it was hitting the frame right where his fingers are turning. All right, so we got the top of the head is off and resting, and then as you can see here, we got a gasket, and then there's the top of the piston now. So we're gonna move the bottom piece, the jug, and then we did have to remove, get this thing not to zoom in so much, this bracket piece here. And I don't remember if I told you guys, we had to remove one of the exhaust studs on the right side of the bike where the brake is at in order to get the top of the head to move. And yeah, this is where we're at. I got to remove so much stuff. Why do I have to be a guy that likes faster stuff? All right, here is the factory piston out of the 300. It's got definitely got some carbon built up on it. It may have been ran a little hot.
That feels like fucking 40 grit sandpaper on top.
She is ran hot, so we're gonna take that piston off and obviously put the new JE piston on it. Put the rings. The rings came pre-gapped, so and then we're gonna set them 120 out from each other. So we're gonna work on getting that little. There should be a little wrist pin on the other side of that collar, and then we should be able to pop the head of that piston off. Got the new piston in and seated, new gasket, and now we're about to put the new jug on. The rings are gapped and ready to rock and roll. So here is where we're at so far. Sorry for the flickering light. I'm wearing an LED headlamp. The piston is obviously inside the jug, good to go. Next we'll put the top of the cylinder head back on. There you can see the valves, etc. So that's where we're at. All right, just a quick little admin note. The cams that you get provided from 550 Performance, at the very end of the lobe, you know, one of them says intake and one of them says exhaust. And they come, you know, they're in a bag of essentially lube, but we are also going to be using some Permatex Ultra Slick Aslumi lube. And then here is the cam itself. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, see on this one is the exhaust, and then obviously the one that's in the bike now is the intake. So you want to make sure you have lube on all the cams, and then the channels, and then everything that's pretty much on the top up here needs to have some assembly lube on it. I can't remember if we said it in a previous video or not, but the head studs that come with the kit as well, those need to be torqued down to 34 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, so the two bolts that are inside of here, you need to torque those down to about 11 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so the camshaft bolts up here for the top, you're gonna do 8.5 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so on the top of the cylinder head, the two mounting bolts, you're gonna do 7 to 7.5 foot-pounds. All right, so here is the factory ECU. Here is the supplied 550 ECU with all the updates. And right here where your coolant reservoir is, this sits here. And there's a little bracket right here that you need, that little rubber boot for the ECU to go into. All right, so whenever you're doing the actual velocity stack for the airbox, we were just getting frustrated. What you need to do is you need to Dremel out a little piece, you know, put the velocity stack on there, line it up in the orientation of the same side of what this box needs to go on. And it's a really tight fit, but we are to the point of airbox is back in, exhaust studs are in, radiator hoses are back in. We're about to put the gas tank back on, put oil in the bike, and put a little bit of coolant, and then we should be moments away from turning the bike over for the first time. All right, little update on the bike. We have some coolant leaking on the bottom of the jug, but little did we know, as you can see right here, where that coolant passage is, that gasket is still on there, and there's a little bit missing there. So had we have fired the bike up, you know, coolant would have been pissing everywhere and oil would have been pissing everywhere. So we got to tear it all down. Of course, you know, we got everything put back together. I know you can't see, but right here where my finger is, the gasket, the jug itself is still sitting up a little bit. And of course, you know, we went to go fill it back up with coolant and it started leaking. So, I mean, literally we had everything done and ready to rock and roll so we could get this thing fired up. So it was, I wouldn't say it was pissing out coolant. It was just a steady little drip of coolant leaking. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the gas tank back off, radiator to the side, and start turning wrenches again, because this bike has to be at an event this coming Thursday. All right, here we go. See what happens here, folks. Okay, so as you saw in that last clip, we had some coolant leaks. So after like the 5th teardown of the entire motor, the top, the intake, the exhaust cam, the head, everything, we got the bike back going. As you saw in that one clip, she's up and running. I probably put about 100 miles on the bike. So what we ended up doing and determined was somebody, whoever had this bike before us, had to have the engine torn apart at some point. There was RTV in some spots. The base gasket, the paper gasket from where the jug meets the head had some RTV on it as well. So what we ended up doing was we pulled the motor apart one last time, and we put RTV on both sides of the paper gasket on the bottom side of the jug that meets to the case. Let it sit for an hour, filled it up with coolant, torqued everything down, and then we let the bike sit for 24 hours. Came back the next day, fired the bike right up, and then rode it. I kind of took it easy for a little bit, and then as I started building confidence that we weren't going to be pissing out coolant anywhere, I started getting on it. I took it for about an hour trail ride in the woods, you know, on, off throttle, blah, 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 all that good stuff. And the bike performed well. So we'll have another video coming in the future of me actually riding the 301 big bore kit. But this video definitely didn't go how I thought it was going to go. So if it's all over the place, I'm sorry about that. But the 301 big bore kit is complete. Big shout out to the folks at 550 Performance. The bike is an absolute animal, and it absolutely freaking rips. So if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, leave this video a big thumbs up. Even if you didn't like today's video, leave it a big thumbs up, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.